Now I am going to start another lecture or small session of course units of operational management, and the topic is layout planning. So first of all, when I explaining the outcomes of this learning outcomes of this session. So after completion of this session, you should be able to define layout planning and explain its importance, and you should be able to identify and describe different type of layouts, and you should able to compare process layout and product layout, and finally you should be able to explain the advantages of hybrid layout analysis. So then, what is this layout mean? What is layout planning mean? Right? So just simply we can say layout planning is deciding on the best physical arrangement of all resources that consume space within a facility. So these resources might include the desk, a work center, a cabinet, a person, an entire office, or even a department. So decisions about the arrangement of resources in a business are not made only when a new facility is being designed. They are made any time there is a change in the arrangement of resources, such as new work being added, a machine being moved, or a change in procedures being implemented. Likewise, okay. Also, layout planning is performed any time there is an expansion in the facility or space reduction, right? So anyway, we know the arrangement of resource in a facility can significantly affect the productivity of a business, right? So a lot of waste in time, energy, and confusion can result from the poor layout. We have to know that, okay? So there are also other reasons layout planning is important, because in many work environment, such as office settings, face-to-face interaction between workers is important. So the proper layout planning can be critical in building good working relationship and increasing the flow of information and improving communication also. So similarly, in retail organizations, also layout can affect sales, be promoting visibility of key items and contributing to customer satisfaction and convenience. So I think, as you know, layout planning affects many areas of business, and its importance should not be underestimated. Right? It is very important thing. So anyway, already we have learned about different type of operations based on degree of product specialization and volume of output, right? We learned that there are two broad categories of operations. Those are intermittent and repetitive processing system. So these things also very important when we identifying what is the most relevant or appropriate layout planning. But anyway, so in general, we know the facility layout also refer to the placement of department work groups within the department. So department or workstations, machines, and stock holdings point within the production facility. So anyway, the layout should be compatible with the technology and the process structure also used. So we know a good layout ensure smooth flow of work, materials, persons, and information also. And also another thing is layout decisions depend on the processing requirement. And a commonly used criteria is to reduce the distance that must be traveled between elements. That is the important thing. However, layout decision must be taken before the facility is built, as later adjustment will be very expensive most probably. Okay, so when now I think you know the meaning of the introduction or definition or the meaning of the layout, right? Layout. So before this, yes, first, right? First, then I move to the subtopic, that is factors affecting layout. Right? So factors affecting layout mean that there are some general factors. All these factors generally or directly affect to the layout, right? Whatever the layout in organization, those factors can be affect to that. Okay, shall we move to one by one? So the first, right? The first, as the first factor, we can identify it as the flexibility. Right? What is this flexibility mean? So we know the meaning of flexibility. So the the flexibility means how extent, right? We can move or change, right? How can move something or how can change it easily, right? So we know that a good layout should be flexible enough to respond to changing conditions. So the changes may be brought about by changes in technology or changes in process. So particular attention should be paid to the provision of services like water supply and power supply, like that. Okay, so the water pipe, right, drain pipes, electric line, and so on easy to place the first time, but are difficult to shift at a later stage, second stage, right? When after the first installing that. Okay, the for instance, in this example, water piping is difficult to alter at a later stage, right? So therefore, when we fixing or when we fixing any type of this kind of equipment or machines, right? We have to keep in our mind there should be a flexibility, right? Flexibility. Otherwise, we cannot change. Right? Otherwise, we cannot change this later according to the another requirement. So if that it is this factor is effect to the already fixed layout, that is the flexibility. And flow of work, materials, and personnel. These factors also affecting to the layout because work and material should flow along designated patterns. They entry into and exit from a functional area should be coordinated so that it is convenient to the issuing, the receiving department. As far as possible, backtracking should be kept to minimum. Right? So then anyway, the layout should avoid unnecessary rehandling of materials. Inter-stage storage of materials should be avoided. Load distance moved between departments should be kept minimal. Right? It is only logical to position departments with the high volume of traffic between then adjacent to be each. anyway, in a service organization, the service flow should be so planned, correctly planned that it is easily understood. So there should be a clear entry and exit point with adequate checkout facilities. And the layout also should be such that it is easy to communicate with customers if it is a service type layout, right? So adequate waiting area for customers should be also be provided. So therefore the flow of work and materials and also personnel also will affect to the layout, the method of or kind of layout. And use of space. Space use is another important factor, because space is space is a facility should not be used only as floor space. Remember that, right? But seen volumetrically, right? As if the volume, based on the volume, it's also depicted, right? So overhead space can be utilized to run cabinets, pipeline, and conveyors. Also the overhead space also we can use. Then also space mean not only the floor space, right? We can use that space also as the space, right? Often tools and equipment can be suspended from the ceiling, right? Work in process can also be moved via in the overhead space. Racks and racks can be installed above head height. So we can do it, right? So use of volumetric space applies particularly to storage areas, especially where mechanical lifting devices are used. So the space utilization should be permit maximum visibility so that all people and all material can be observed at all times. So another thing is hiding place, right? Hiding place should be avoided, right? Into which goods get misled, right? Which goods get misled. So this is difficult to achieve as people tend to ask for cupboards and lockers and view them as a status symbols. So screens and screens should be screens and partitions, right? Partitions should be carefully considered as they lead to undesirable segregations. So that one is how to consider. And in case of service facilities, sometimes departments and process should be so arranged that the customer only see what we want them to see. So maximum visibility helps in in the customer services. Okay? So balance should be so anyway the customer who is already in front of the line, or the customer who is hope to get in service immediately, and others, right, should be stuck between waiting area and service area. So then all these things are required, right? The required things, and when we use in the space, right? So for the any type of layout, right? We need carefully distribute this available space among the required tasks also and other requirements, right? And accessibility also another factor, right? Accessibility also very important factor. So the layout should permit maximum accessibility to all maintenance points. Yeah, should be. Okay. In maintenance points are not easily accessible, the machine or equipment will not be maintained. It is understood now. It is very clear. If it is not possible to provide the desired accessibility, it should be possible to move the machine or equipment at the time of maintenance. So the similarly, accessibility to service point should be ensured. That is, we have to do. Right? Do not have a power point located behind the machine, as it may become inaccessible in case it has to be repaired or replacement. Those maybe those things are very small thing, right? So, but when we identify, when we planning our layout, prepared layout, those things we have to consider very clearly, right? Very correctly. And another one is working environment. This is more important, another factor, because layout should ensure that the working environment is conductive, right? So, poor light, if the lighting is poor lighting, right? Or excessive sunlight is less, okay, heat, more heat, unbearable heat, or large noise and vibrations should be kept to the minimum, right? Should be kept to minimum. The worker should be able to perform his duties then comfortably. So there should be inherent safety and security in the layout. For example, paints and consumable like waste cotton, which are those things should not be stored together. Right? So you know the paints and consumable like waste cotton, right? Which are those things should not be stored together. So suitable, right? Suitable measurement must be implemented to provide protection against the fire hazard, right? And the layout should ensure that accidents are prevented, right? Accidents are prevented. So keep areas below overhead traveling cabins or traveling trains and so on clear of people. Educated areas, drinking water, washroom, medical first aid facilities, and so those things should be provided in keeping with industrial regulation and laws that may be applicable. And work groups should be able to identify themselves with their workplace. Psychologically, each group has need for what are they are needed, right? All needed have to be provided. So unnecessary segregations, right? Should be avoided. Groups should be able to communicate with each other, and within a group it should be possible for operators to help each other. Team spirit should be fostered, and a good layout will result in efficiency and minimize the processing time and costs by reducing handling and movement. So this one we have to know, and it will lead to better supervision and control through maximizing visibility. So human productivity will improve the working environment if the working environment is good. So to get the efficiency capacity or the effective productivity, right? Good productivity. So we have to consider the working environment. We have to consider what is the working environment and what is the needed requirement from the working environment. And then we can move to the next part. So layout types. Layout types. When we consider in layout types, there are 4 basic layout types. Process layout, product layout, hybrid layout, and fixed position layout. Right? So shall we first move to the process layout? So what is this process layout mean? So there is another name for that one. It is also called the functional layout, right? So in this type of layout, all machines and equipment which perform the same function, right? Same function are grouped together. For example, all, what is the example? All lathes, right? Lathes may be placed in the machine shop. All welding plant may be grouped together in the welding shop. And painting equipment may be available in the painting shop, and so on. Right? So that's the example. The job is routed to various shops as required. The setup is ideal for batch production. The service facility like hospitals provide a good example for process-based for functional, the process-based for functional layout. We know the wards and the departments provide specific medical care, like the surgery ward looks after the surgery cases, and other ward provides care to maternity, and likewise. Okay, so there is separate sections for the separate requirements, right? So then hospital is a very good example. The layout of hospital is good example for the process layout. Then another thing is this type of layout is seen in companies also, right? So they use the intermittent processing system, right? You would see a process layout in environment in which the large variety of items are produced in the low volume, right? Large variety of items, right? Variety of items are produced in the low volume. Since many different items are produced, each with unique processing requirement, it is not possible to dedicate an entire factory to each item. So it is more efficient to group process based on their function. Products are being moved from one resource to another based on their unique need. So process layout is very common, right? Very common. As I said, it's a very good example for the service process layout. Hospital, right? Hospital is an example of process layout. That's a very good example. And so in their, just I told you, the departments are grouped based on their function, right? In hospital, such as cardiology, radiology, right? Laboratory, likewise. Okay. So the anyway, the patient, the product in this case is moved between departments based on the patient, right? Is moved between departments based on his or her individual need, right? So then university also is another example. Right? University is another example for this process layout. We know the students, right? Or the faculties or departments are grouped based on their function, right? The student move between departments based on the unique program we have chosen. If they whenever the student come to the university, then what is his or her requirement? Based on that, he can move to the relevant department, relevant area, or relevant things they can use, right? If the student need to the specific day, he need the use the library, then he or she can do it, right? So likewise. So anyway, that process layout can design to produce many different items, often to customer specification. So to achieve this goal, they have certain unique characteristics, right? What are those characteristics? First one is resource are used general purpose, right? Because now I am explaining you the process layout are designed to produce many different items, often to customer specification, right? So to achieve these goals, they have certain unique characteristics. What are those characteristics? First, we can say resource are used general purposes. The resource in a process layout need to be capable of producing many different type products, right? Then second characteristic is facilities are less capital intensive. Less capital intensive, that means more labor incentive, right? So anyway, facility are more labor incentive, less capital intensive means process layout have less automation, which is typically devoted to the production of one product. And in contrast, that the facility are more labor incentive, process layout typically rely on higher skilled workers who can perform difficult functions. And another characteristic of in this process layout, resource have greater flexibility. So process layout need to have the ability to easily and add or delete product from their existing product line depending on market demand. Easily they can move or change their fixed equipment or another tasks, right? Already fixed things they can easily remove from that base if there is more flexible, right? So it is in there. And also in another characteristic of process layout is processing rates are slow, right? Less processing layout, because process layout produce many different products and there is a greater movement between workstations. Consequently, it takes longer to product a product. This one is to compare when comparing the another what we call another layout method. Basically, in contrast, the product layout, this process layout, in the process layout, processing rate is very little, slow, right? And material handling costs also are very high because it costs more to move goods from one process to another process because different process, right? So when it's process layout, material handling costs can be very high. And further, scheduling resources more challenging because scheduling equipment and machine is particularly important of this environment, right? If it is not done properly, anyone, long waiting lines can come in front of some work centers, right? While others remain ideal. However, that means no balancing, right? Balancing among the work centers, no balance. Okay? So then finally we can say the space of equipment are higher. Right? Sorry, equipment space requirements are higher. Okay? So this type of layout need more space due to higher inventory storage need. However, the nature of, right, according to the nature of this type of process, that means that the process layout, it needs the more space in comparatively product layout, right? So you can understand through the example also, no? If it is the organization is the hospital, right? We know that organization, hospital, right? These hospitals needed more space to do their day-to-day works, right? Anyway, another, yes, in here I have given some, yes, next one is product layout. Yes, this picture, right? This picture you can see the as a process layout as an example, right? This is maybe the supermarket or then shopping center, big shopping center. In here you can see the one, yeah, okay, yeah, the one place there is the clothes, another side is shoes. Okay, they keep it in the different places, right? But the thing is in here, if it is the process, that's why we say this is a process layout. if one person or one customer coming to this shopping center, right, just whatever he want, whatever the goods they need, they can select and they can go to that place, right? No need to go everywhere and anywhere, right? So then common, right? Commonly he can use, he can fulfill their requirements when selecting what place or what place what is the place he or she will move to, right? So then, so however we have you have to know one thing, because uh, if improper design, right? Improper design of process layout, right? If we not correctly design the process layout, it can result in costly inefficiency, such as high material handling cost, right? And a good high material cost or high another wasting time or traveling time can be more, right? High. So the a good design can help bring order to an environment that might otherwise be very a very clearing manner, right? So next, right? So next, when we move to the other type of the layout, that is the product layout, right? Product layout is another important and popular, right? Popular layout method. Product layout is also this also referred as the flow line layout, right? Rarely use this name, but we know the same, right? Similar thing, product layout and flow line layout. So in this layout, equipment and work process are arranged in the progressive step in which the product is made. The workflow is efficient workflow in effect, right? Flows a straight line. So automobile production on the assembly line, we can show as the example, right? Also the chemical plant, cement factory, and steel plant is very good, right? So these are all examples for such type of layout. So the layout is particularly suited for a flow and continuous production process structure. And so further we can say in product layouts are layouts that arrange resources in a straight line fashion to promote efficient production. Okay? So they are called product layout because all resources are arranged to meet the production need of the product. This type of layout is used by companies that have repetitive processing, right? Same processing, repetitive processing system, and produce produce one or few standard product in a large volume, batch of product, right? One product or small number of products, right? But those products are producing with a large volume, right? So another thing is we can see in this type of layouts, right? That in production layout are seen on assembly line, right? Assembly line in assembly line. Okay. So anyway, right? As an more example, we can show the cafeteria, right? Or even at the car wash, right? All these places is the suitable layout methods are product layout. Right? So in product layout, the material moves continuously and uniformly, right? Uniformly through a series of workstations until the product is completed. The challenge in designing product layout is to arrange workstations in sequence and designate the jobs that will be performed by each station in order to produce the product in the most effective way possible. So in this layout system, operation managers, right? Operation managers must decide exactly what tasks will be performed by every workstation in the sequence. They need to consider the logical order in which job should be done. For an example, at the car wash, you cannot perform yes, in a car wash, as at a car wash station, right? When you go there to wash your car, right? So all you have to go one particular sequence of job tasks, right? Job tasks. So that means when you start in the whatever you want to start to do when this process, car wash process, right? Every person who are coming to wash their car, all persons have to do the same procedure, same bulk of work, same bulk of activities, right? They have to move same places, okay, in the sequence, right? So that's why we say this type of services also we can consider as the product layout services, right? With the product layout. And anyway, anyway, most of the time, this product layout, right? Anyway, we use this product layout, whatever the product, if they producing the product or also the survey when we supplying the services, right? Service organization also can follow this product layout method. But remember, the thing is that product layout are designed to produce one type or just a few type product, right? In a high volume. It's similar to for the services also, right? So therefore, then these some kind of characteristic, right? So product layout have some kind of characteristic. These what are those characteristics? First is resource are specialized, right? So product layout are specialized resources designed to produce large quantity of product. We know that, okay? So all the product they use the specific specialized resources, right? Because they already produce same product, one product, right? With more volume, high volume. So they have to use and they normally use the same specialized resources, right? And also facilities are capital incentive, right? Facilities are capital incentive because product layout make heavily use the automation, which is specifically designed to increase production, right? Say they also use the high or large, right? Capital intensive machines, right? Machines like that, okay? So, and therefore the facilities are capital incentive and most probably this capital investment also for these machines may be high, right? And processing rate fast, right? So high processing rate. That means processing rate are fast as well resources are arranging sequence for efficient production, right? Because we use the specific machine or equipment, right? One is specific for the same machine for the all the product. Say one assembly line for the all the product, but that means all the product mean one product with the high more volume, right? So therefore processing rate is faster, okay? And therefore the material handling cost are lower, right? Material handling cost may be lower. So due to arrangement of work centers is close proximity is one another to one another, material handling cost is significantly lower than for processing layout, right? When we comparing this material handling cost with the process layout, right? In the product layout, this material handling costs are very because they put or install, right? They are each and their work centers and their equipment in very closely, right? Very closely. And next one is space, right? Space requirement for inventory storage are low. Product layout have much faster processing rate and less need for inventory storage, right? So because in this type of product, right? This type of product required inventory storage is low because they have product have the faster processing method, right? So they rotate, right? This product process the product circle is rotate quickly, right? It's rotate, that means just first they can bring the material, right? Order the material and bring the materials, right? Then they can do their process and also they can get the finished good and they also can remove for the so they also can present it to the they send it to the market, right? Market. Likewise, this process is very quickly this need, right? It's a small time, right? Little time period to do this process, right? Therefore, space requirements of inventory can be low. And another one is flexibility of low relative to the market, right? Flexibility of low relative to the market because all facilities of resource are specialized. Product layouts are locked into producing one type of product, right? They cannot easily add to or delete products from the existing product line. Okay? So then flexibility is very low, right? They cannot change it, right? They cannot quickly change all these things because same, right? Same fixed material, same fixed equipment, same fixed machines they use, right? So it's a little bit hard to change, right? So therefore we can say flexibility is less flexibility in the organization as well as it relative to the market. Okay? Then next we can move to the other type of layout pattern, right? That is the fixed position layout. So fixed position just we move to the hybrid. Now we move to hybrid. Hybrid layout. So so this hybrid layout also there is another name for this one. Hybrid layout also referred as a cellular layout or group technology layout, right? So anyway, in this type of layout, dissimilar machines are grouped together, right? Remember, in this hybrid layout, dissimilar machines are grouped together into a work center, which manufactures a family of products, right? Family of products having similar processing requirement, though not necessarily in the same order, right? Though not necessarily in the same order. So that means the layout is similar to process layout in the much as the machines perform different process and is similar to the product layout as the machines are grouped to perform process required by a limited set of product or family of product, right? So then this type of layout also in practical you can see, right? practically there are this type of layout. So another thing is this hybrid layout is the very simply, right? Simply we can say this hybrid layout combine aspects of both process and product layouts. Okay, so this is the case in facilities where part of the operations is performed using an intermediate processing system and another part is performed using a continuous processing system. So as an example, we say the company which makes mobile. Yes, what is the more suitable example? So as the yes, we can say for the hybrid, for similar to that as an example, yes, you can see one example. I have given you picture for you. Yes. So anyway, this hybrid layout, right? The same one organization, right? So one part or one section, okay? One section they use the system of or method of process layout methods, and other part can be a product layout. Right? Process layout and product layout both can be there. Right? Both can be there. So as an example, we can say one supermarket, right? One supermarket with the cafeteria. One supermarket with the what we call the canteen, like okay, with the cafeteria or supermarket, like with the restaurant, right? Restaurant. So then we know if it is the supermarket, most probably its layout very its layout can be the process layout, right? Supermarket. And inside of that, if there is a cafeteria or restaurant, that part they can install like with according to the product layout method, right? So then that is then in a restaurant part there may be a one unique line, right? Unique line or unique way how they can serve or get their service. Any customer, right? Customer get their service. There should be a unique path or unique way to use to get their service, right? So then, anyway, this hybrid layout are very common, right? So. Further we can say this so the hybrid layouts are often created in an attempt to bring the efficiencies of a product layout to a process layout environment. So then to develop a hybrid layout, we can try to identify parts of the process layout operations that can be standardized and produce them in a product layout format. That's the way how we can do it, right? Another one is we have to know this hybrid layout. Normally this method, right, this approach brings great efficiency to the process layout environment. So then this is very important, right, for not only the particular product or particular thing. Then everyday life also we can, the hybrid layouts can be seen in the everyday life also, right? So as I explained you, retail stores and grocery stores use hybrid layout most of the time, right? In these environments, goods such as dairy item, meat, or produce produced are stored based on their function. From that, is also designed to consider a path to sequence of purchases in a straight line fashion, making it similar to the product layout, right? So we can understand this hybrid layout, I think, clearly. So another another thing in this hybrid layout, right? Hybrid layout, most probably they equally, right? They equally combine, right? They equally combine characteristic of both process and product layout, right? So then anyone can't say, anyone cannot identify the if there is only the more characteristic relevant to the hybrid, process or product, okay? So we can't say that, because when we clearly understand, when we clearly study, right, the layout type, this type layout, hybrid type layout, so we can see, right? We can see there should be, right? We can see there should be combine of characteristic, right? Combining characteristic both. Combining characteristic of both the process and product layout, right? ඒ දෙක combine කරලා තමයි ඒ layout එක හරි දැස්සලා තියෙන්නේ. හරි layout එකේ හැම වෙලේම process layout එකේ තියෙන characteristic උයි product layout එකේ තියෙන characteristic උයි එකට එකතු කරලා හදලා layout එක තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. හරි? And then we move to the fourth type of layout, that is fixed, no? Yes, a fixed position layout. So this is a very, very simple one, but we can understand it very easily, because fixed position layout is used when the product is large and cannot be moved due to its size. Very clear, no? So it is also in a fixed position layout, the product is stayed fixed at a particular location. At a particular location because of its bulk and size, and worker teams and equipment move to the work site to work on it, right? So there are more examples we can say, no? The layout of shipbuilding yards, right? Bridge construction, right? Site, so on. So the layout is suited for a project and high-tech jobs of production process there, right? In this kind of layout, the product may be visualized as the hub of wheel with materials and equipment arranged concentrically around it in the order of use and movement. So we know the equipment that is used frequently is positioned closer to the product. Materials are arranged according to their technological priority. Okay, so then we know the fixed position layouts used when the product is large and cannot move, right? Cannot move because of the size, right? So all the resources then for producing the product, including the equipment, labor, other tools, and all other resource, right? And not only the physical, right? Other human resource, right? To be brought to the site where the product is located, right? So building construction is a good example. Dam or a bridge construction, right? Shipbuilding, right? Large aircraft also, right? Manufacturing large aircraft also another example, right? The challenge with the fixed position layout is scheduling different work crews, the job and managing the project, right? So this is very popular, right? Very popular layout method, but the thing is, according to the nature of the product, right? Nature of the task, right? What they are doing, right? According to that, this layout begin, because everyone cannot use this layout, right? Just if it is the nature of the work, right? What is the task or work or activity they are doing? Simply we can say what is their job, right? When they are building the, constructing the, if their task is building construction, right? If they build building, the organization is building construction organization, their main task is to build the they build high big building, so they have to construct with this fixed position layout, right? Fixed position layout. That is the only the way they have to use. They only the layout method they have to use, right? And then designing process layouts. Yes, this is another two things. Here I would like to explain this too. Anyway, we have explained we have discussed the four main layout methods, process layout, product layout, fixed position layout, and the hybrid layout. Right? Among those four methods, fixed position, among those, product layout and process layout we highly use, right? So very popular. Anyway, in addition to all these four methods, right? In addition to these four type of methods, there are some layouts, right? Some layouts we can fix that type of layout based on the or according to the process of product layout, right? So then here you can see one is I have in this picture, you can see, look at this picture, you can see one is warehouse layout, right? So then this warehouse layout you can see right, you can see the this layout. You can see key characteristic, right? You can see the key characteristic of process layout in there, this warehouse layout, right? So product are stored based on their function and there is movement of goods. The main difference is that movement within a warehouse is primary between the loading, unloading, dock and the areas where goods are stored, right? So typically there is no movement between the storage areas themselves. The primary function of a warehouse is to provide storage space. So only the only movement is inbound or outbound. Thinking about a warehouse that store computer equipment and supplies, right? So printers might be stored in one area, keyboard in another area, and ink cartridge in another area, right? So certainly there would be no movement between the keyboard storage area and the area where ink cartridge are stored. Okay, the movement would consist of bringing item either in or out of the warehouse, office, layer, either in the out of the warehouse, right? Either in the out of warehouse. So then what I want to here emphasize you, right? So basically we can understand there are four main type of layout process, right? Layouts. In addition to that, there are another type of layouts, particularly any organization can use that type of layout, right? So as an example, warehouse layout. However, these layout also basically focusing one of among the four main layouts method, right? ඔයගොල්ලෝ මට කියන්නේ මේ ප්‍රධාන හතරට අමතරව මේ තව layout වර්ග අපිට පේන්න තියෙනවා. හරි වෙන නම් වලින් හඳුනගෙන තියෙනවා. නමුත් මේ layout වල මොකක් හරි අර ප්‍රධාන කිව් එකක් බේස් කරන් තමයි කරන්නේ, right? As another example is office layout. So this office layout another special case of process layout. It is also process layout, but this is a special case of process layout, right? So you can see it, right? In this process, merely looking at the number of trips between department or the movement is good is not sufficient to design a good office layout, because human interaction and communication are the primary factors that need to be considered when designing office layout, right? So therefore, we have to consider all the requirements, whatever need in the type, the office, according to the type office, right? So whatever requirement need for that office, then considering those things, we have to, they have to fix their office. We call it is the office layout, but remember, this also basically focus any main type of layout method, right? So I hope to discuss with you all these things in this small session, this short session. So I think you now you understood, right? Now you understood basically these things. Basically now you know what is the layout planning, right? Meaning of layout planning and its importance, right? Why and how layouts are important to the any organized layout method, right? Layout planning are important to the organization, and already you know different type of layouts, mainly 4 types, and also you more understood regarding the process layout and product layout. In addition to that, also hybrid layout and the fixed position layout also you understood. So now we have come to end of this session. Then I hope to meet you with another session of this course module. Thank you.